Welcome back to First Things First. Former head coach Eric Mangini back with us this morning. Always fun when you're here, Coach.
Nice.
Go on.
There you go.
There you go. Thank
I was going to hold it back.
These two weirdos. We actually have a good time.
Am I getting grouped in?
When you're actually not here. When you're stuck in the airport, we actually have a good time then, too.
No, I got hurt feelings. No.
Better time when he's here.
Look at
Better time. Hey.
He's broken.
9 days until the start of the season, and wide receiver Dez Bryant, much like the four of us, not on an NFL roster. Some would argue that the team most in need of a wide receiver on their roster is New England. When asked about that, before Tom Brady hung up the phone during his interview with WEEI, Brady said that Dez is obviously a hell of a player, but he said, quote, "I don't go in there and tell them who I want." All right, Coach, you got a player, a wide receiver that needs a team. There's a team that needs a wide receiver. How would Dez fit in on the Patriots?
I don't think this would be a fit. Just the little bit that I do know about Dez and seeing him with his interview process in Cleveland. If you're going to New England, you're not going to be on the marquee. You've got to go in, you've got to be ready to play a role, and you've got to be ready to do whatever they ask you to do. And I don't know if Dez is in that space yet. And also at this point, to go and sign a veteran receiver before the start of the season and be committed to their contract, to have to pay out that contract no matter what, just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for New England. Now, I could see them revisiting it after the first week of the season when those contracts aren't guaranteed. Then it's really renting.
It's week to week, and there's no risk associated with it whatsoever. They brought in Kenny Britt late in the year. He was a guy a lot of us thought wouldn't necessarily fit.
Right. And he's a version of Dez Bryant.
I would say less talented with a little less baggage on the sidelines. Now, he might have some more baggage off the field than Dez, but less baggage on the sidelines, but also less high-level ability. He had 5 catches in like a half dozen games with him last year and then was cut recently this offseason. So he didn't fit. Dez had an interesting tweet yesterday about, he was asked basically how much he still has left, and he says, "I gave too much love and not received at least half back. I will play ball this year, just might be a little bit later in the year. We'll see." So he seems at least now coming to the realization that he might have missed his opportunity to be on a Week 1 roster and therefore have his salary for the year guaranteed.
That's either the second or third time he has kind of led me to believe on Twitter that he's been injured, or that he, in trying to train something, he realized that something that he may be injured in the past is not up to full speed. That's the only thing I can take from some of his
messages. He also tweeted, "I have to take care of me first." Now, you could think that like as a holistic, emotional, or to your point, like literally take care of myself first.
Yeah, and you're a lot smarter than me, too, if you can interpret all these things that Dez is saying. But, Coach, I'd like to do just a little bit of role playing, because I've been a wide receiver before, and you've been around Belichick before. Well, I'm a little more dressed than Dez would have been in the meeting.
A little more?
But from what we saw in the Cleveland, when he met with the coach and the general manager, his first comments about because Bill would ask him something about what are you trying to accomplish, or something like that. Would you agree, or what would Bill's
you be
first
Belichick
question?
First of all, I don't think he's getting to the building. Like I don't think he's getting.
Yeah, neither are we. But can we play?
But if he was in the building, I would imagine you could get a very similar question. What are you looking for from this season, and also, what value do you bring? What perceived value do you bring to the organization?
Well, Coach, I'm ready to play ball and everything, but I just want to be in a situation, Coach, where someone is just real with me. I'm to the point now where people have been lying to me. I'm just ready for just have honest and just be real with me, Coach.
Okay, so it'd be a long pause, a very long pause, and I don't think Bill would address that directly. I think it'd be more, here's what the expectations are. Here's the role that you need to play. Here's the way you need to play that role. And that's as real as I can get with you. Now, do you really want to be here and do those things, or do you need more love? Because if you're looking for love, it's not coming from here.
No, Coach, it's been real. Nice to meet you.
What are those expectations? So even if we say Dez isn't a fit in New England, what are the expectations for a wide receiver to come play in New England?
It's not about a wide receiver.
It's
not about a running back.
first.
Yes, it's about you fitting into the bigger picture.
A business approach.
A business approach and understanding that the we is greater than me. And you need to contribute to the greater good first. And if you do that, everybody's boat is going to rise. It's going to be good for you. But if you come in with a mentality like, I need to get my sacks, I need to get my catches, I need to get this, that doesn't work there. It just doesn't work.
At this stage of my career, Bill, I'll play any position. I believe you to be the greatest football coach ever. If you can help make me better, I'm going to show up to work, and I'm going to try to get better every day. I believe that you know what's best for me and what's best for the Patriots. I'm just trying to get a job. That's what I just want an opportunity to play for you and to play for this organization.
I remember when Rodney Harrison signed. Rodney showed up at the building
with a lot of stuff that you would say there's no way Rodney Harrison is going to play for Bill Belichick.
And we had Lawyer Malloy. So we had Lawyer Malloy. So he shows up, and he wasn't dressed up. He was in, kind of
workout gear.
Workout gear, and with his agent, and Bill was in the same. And they just talked about, here's what the opportunity is. Here's what the money is. And Rodney liked the idea, like he could go have a chance to win. It was very straight out business. Here's our expectations. Here's what the offer is. Here's the competition ahead of you. Do you want it?
Rodney ended up being one of his favorite players.
And Rodney, when I talked to him, I said, well, you didn't go through the recruiting process. You didn't, a lot of teams, there's a lot of recruiting going. He said, I didn't want that. I wanted to know what the opportunity was, what the expectation was, what the competition was, what the compensation was, and we were ready to go.
Well, unless Dez Bryant has done a 180, that was not Dez Bryant, the Dez Bryant we saw talking to Dorsey and Hugh Jackson last week in Cleveland. It was a lot of, here, I know what I can do. I know what I'm good at. Clearly, what we didn't see behind the scenes is, I want to be paid more than $5 million because it was reported that they offered $5 million and he wanted, or less than $5 million and he wanted more than that. But my question to you is, would it appear at this point with 9 days to go that most teams are now going to take the same approach that the Patriots could potentially take, which is, I'm not going to guarantee you for the year. Let's wait and see after the season starts. Is that where we're at this point?
We're getting closer to that. Going into this last preseason game, a lot of starters aren't going to play.
Right, where's the
injury?
So
you're probably not going to have those injuries. Now, that doesn't mean someone couldn't get hurt in practice or something couldn't happen leading up to it. It's just now where you're making those decisions, you're going to see a lot of veterans get cut, too, before the start of the season because you don't want to have to own that contract for the 17 weeks.
Has Jacksonville called him yet? Because they had the injury. They think they can contend. They have the need at the position. They got the cap space. They ain't called him. Let me ask you this as a player, see, because you were a learned football player. It was one of your biggest strengths. How hard would it have been for you to be ready to play week one in a new offense, new coordinator, new quarterback, new system if you were picked up 9 days before the season?
Impossible.
Okay.
Impossible. When I retired, the Dolphins signed me. We had a bye week, and I had to get ready within a 2-week period to play the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. And I was on that field, but I was not ready to be playing in an NFL game. First pass came through me, went right through my hands, and the guy hit me with a knife on my kidney. And I knew.
Lacerated your kidney.
Yeah, I knew that, man, Chris, you didn't talk yourself into a fight with a butter knife, and they got multiple weapons.
I bet mentally, though, you picked up the information and you were ready from the, or not, maybe it wasn't perfect.
One of the things
sure
I had North Turner. And North Turner had a handful of things. The first day I came there, he said, I think that this is what I did with Michael Irvin. I think I can duplicate this with you. So they had a game plan, and that helped me mentally get myself, even though I didn't think physically I was ready for that type of challenge.
And Chris, so here's a guy who picks up information quickly, has a wealth of experience. So now if you're dealing with a situation where guys maybe don't pick up information as quickly, everything gets that much. It's not only physically, but it's mentally, and you've got a lot of things you got to overcome.
Getting to is that even if you are a student of the game, have always been able to run all the routes, you went from the outside to the slot, played all the positions. It's still just from forget the physicality and the lacerated kidney, even though I'm sure that's hard to forget. Just from what you need to do on a play-in-play basis, what the calls are, is difficult to pick up in a week and a half.
It's impossible to play fast.
There you go. And so if you're a player who your strengths have not been let me call it mental agility, then I think it's even more, it's doubly difficult. One last point about Rodney Harrison.
Okay.
There's a reason Rodney Harrison's on Sunday Night Football wearing that awesome watch he wears. It's not just because he's a great player. It's because he got the winning with New England. Like, there is an added benefit of being that caliber of player in that organization, of being able to carry that glow with you. And that's something that I wonder if Dez, and not just to pick on Dez, but some other guys recognize, is there is some sacrifice. But your profile, rising tide raises all boats. Your profile during and post-career can raise enormously by playing in big games that people remember, that everybody saw. And so that's something that I think Dez is missing out on enormously.
Rodney could have gotten paid more. Rodney could have gone to a place where he was guaranteed a spot as the starter. Rodney chose to go there and compete.
He chose the toughest spot.
He chose the toughest spot. And as an organization, as a coaching staff, you're like, all right, that's the type of guy that I want.
And that's how he resurrected his career. Right. He was on a down tilt.
And just one more point on Dez is, even though Chris may not have been ready, if your organization is facing a situation where a slow Chris Carter is much better than whoever you have next, then you go get that guy. And it may not be perfect, but that's to where Dez could get an opportunity, is if he's the best alternative.
All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, how do expectations change now that Odell Beckham Jr. got paid? It's next on First Things First.
Coach, I had to get that $1 million. That thing was sitting on the table. Give me that. Let me